One cool thing that came out recently was that, and you alluded to it. You told me Davante Adams is going to be on one of those episodes with Brian Baldinger, and I watched at least the clip that was on the Packers website, and it was really interesting to hear. Because you think a lot about, okay, there's plays drawn up, and these guys run a route that's designed a certain way and stuff like that. But how much are they really, especially like receivers and stuff like that? How much are they really putting into like being super specific with what they're doing? And that's where you hear some of these guys talk about what a good route runner is, and what guys that aren't that great at route runners, like they're good athletes, but they're not that good at running routes. And Davante Adams, like the precision, the details, some of the things he mentioned in that interview that he thinks about in the process of running a route to get open, was really impressive to me and eye opening. That he takes that much attention to his work. So I thought that was pretty cool and really interesting as well. Ben, what do you think?
Well, I think it speaks to the thing where a lot of people are saying that a lot of times Rodgers looks to Davante is, and I know last week I said it, I don't think it's as much of that, more he just doesn't throw the ball. But with Davante in that little that NFL Network thing where he talked about his route running stuff, he talked about changing the route based on the coverage, not necessarily changing the route, but like just maybe he's taking normally he would take a 45-degree angle on this cut, but because of where the safety is, he takes a 60-degree angle instead, and then cuts it a different way. And that's one of those things where young receivers, or like Aaron Jones, for instance, who's a running back who maybe moves in motion to receiver, he's not going to do. If it's supposed to do a 45-yard route and he cuts the inside slant, 5 yards into his route, that's what he's going to do. Even though the coverage may tell Aaron Rodgers, that's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's why Rodgers doesn't look at the other guys, because he doesn't believe that they're going to see that the coverage should be changing their route just a little bit. Where Davante, because he can read the coverage and understands how to change his route, will. And those are things that were really cool about that video that I noticed. Just in that one, they talked about the route against, I think it was Detroit or something, where they were really in a bind and they needed a touchdown bad. And Davante, he did like a double move where he did the inside slant and then broke it to the corner of the end zone. And he said that the route he was supposed to run was he would have to take like a sharper turn on his initial cut. But because where the safety was, he knew if he did that, he wouldn't get back to the corner, and the safety would be over there to cover him. So he kind of took his angle at a 60-degree angle instead of a 50-degree angle, and then cut it back out, and then he was open. And he was wide open. There was like nobody within 10 yards of him. But it was a very, very, it's one of those things where you watch this stuff and you're like, you think, oh, these guys, they just, everything runs on paper should work in the game, and it never does, obviously. And you usually think, well, they run a play that doesn't work, then they run around and do stuff. Well, sometimes, and in the Packers case with Davante, pretty much every play he reads the coverage and changes his play. He changes his route a little bit, and it's something that him and Aaron Rodgers can both do. Read the coverage, know exactly, and Rodgers knows how he's going to break his route. Like the one third down play in the playoff games last year against the Seahawks. Rodgers said after the game, it wasn't specifically supposed to be kind of like that. It's kind of a weird where Davante beat the guy and then kind of just ran 45-degree angle to the sideline, and that wasn't the way the route was supposed to go. But based on the coverage, that's what he did. And Rodgers knew he was going to do it, and that's why he looked off and then went back to Davante and threw that perfect pass to him. But it was awesome.
Bernard, you hate Molly from First Take? Yeah. Don't get me started. Don't get me started on her. Oh my God,
that's so god awful. And you know what the worst part about her is? Her first couple years.
Go ahead.
She just didn't say anything, right? She just would intro the stuff, and that's fine. But the last, 4 years, she's got to put her dang 2 cents in, and it's just like, shut up. And this is nothing about her being a woman. I don't care.
Oh, no.
There's many times where they had Jamal Hill and other people on that show who know what they're talking about. But Molly Karam Rose doesn't know jack squat about anything half the time, and she's got a blab, 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 and just shut up and let Nick McFarland's face double and Stephen A. Smith talk, all right? Seriously, every time I see that guy, I think he looks like Nick. What's his name?
Max Kellerman.
Yeah, Max Kellerman. Yeah.
Max Kellerman. Yeah. So
At least not as much anymore. But back when he first started that Around the Horn show, he looked just like Nick did in college, and I was just like, man, this is like Nick's twin brother or something.
That's hilarious. Yeah, she hates Rodgers. I mean, she's a Rodgers hater too. It's like she hangs out at the same establishment that Colin Cowherd does, and they just, I don't know, like, and she's so. I'm trying to think of a better word than the one I want to say, which is the B word, but I don't want to say that one. But she's kind of itchy with a B in the front, and the deal is like, I don't know how Jalen Rose is married her. Like, he seems like a pretty laid back, cool dude. How do they end up together? Beyond me. But anyway,
hey, we got to get back to Davante.
She hates on Rodgers. Oh, I had an awesome thing about Davante and receivers. So when you're looking at prospects, NFL, and when you're looking for a good receiver in high school, in what you just said about the angles and how he calculates all of that, you're also looking for people that are good at geometry. Wouldn't you think? Wouldn't you think an athlete that's good at geometry would be a better route runner than an athlete that is not good at geometry?
I don't know. Sure.
Okay. I thought it was worth a shot anyway. Rick, what do you think? We never had to run many routes. Well, I wasn't very good at running routes, but it wasn't the angle thing. It was the lack of athleticism or speed thing, which hurt me. What else you got about Davante, Ben? Go ahead.
A lot of people. Well, the other thing I really thought was interesting about that episode of the I don't know what they call it, but NFL or whatever, is he says that every time before he starts his route, you're breaking up, so I'm probably breaking up, but every time before he starts his route, he does this hop step thing, like every time, and they showed him doing it, and I think that's the reason why his break getting off the line of scrimmage is a little bit slower. But the thing he mentioned is, and they showed a couple times, which was really cool, is no matter where the guy was lined up in front of him, like sometimes he's a little bit off to the defensive back's a little bit off to the left or a little bit off to the right or whatever it is. When he does his hop step, he doesn't always do a hop step always to the left or always to the right. He does it the same way every time. But what he does is he does it so that he gets directly in front of that corner that's covering him, so that he can run his route exactly the same. So a lot of times, like, you'll see a guy, because he's got inside leverage or whatever, or he knows he's got like a safety on the inside to help him or whatever, he'll kind of like cheat to the left side of Davante and give him the inside. And then, well, Davante, when he does his hop step, he moves directly in front of that guy. And then he's able to get open. And that's part of the reason why I think he gets open all the time. The other thing he talked about was, and Brian Baldinger asked him about this too, was like on the play against the Seahawks, where I want to talk about this because you always talk about LaFleur doesn't coach so great. This is an awesome play about LaFleur, but we'll talk about the play first. When he it was the second touchdown he had, where it was like a 3 tight end set, and he was over alone with the corner covering him or whatever. And he did a slant in and then a break out again. And then Rodgers threw it to him, and then he caught it, and then he kind of stopped and gathered himself and got the corner directly in front of him. And then he started taking off. And Baldinger was like, hey, why did you do that? Because it's kind of like just getting off the line of scrimmage. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I don't have, 4.2 speed. So what I need to do is break the guy down in front of me and make sure that he's flat-footed so that I get the first step. Something like that, and that's what he does from the line of scrimmage, and that's what he did on that play. Because when you watch the play, he's not like when he first starts the goal, he doesn't move that fast. It looks like it takes him forever to get that 15 yards to get in the end zone when you watch that play back.
Yeah.
But because he stopped and he got the corner to stop and try to, the corner became the reactionary player, and Davante had, the first step, which allowed him to get to the end zone on that play because he's not that fast and he knows it.
Mm-hmm.
And those are things that, a 50 or 60 or however many years he's been in the league now guy understands, and the reason why he's one of the best receivers in the league. He knows his limitations. You know this. When we were in Statesman, I would talk to guys all the time. Like, when you're in practice, or when I practice singing or whatever it is, I will force myself and push myself beyond my limits all the time. to try to get better, to try to sing higher, to try to sing longer, whatever it is, or to do a better phrasing or whatever it is. But when you're in a performance, know what your limitations are so that you can sound your best. You don't shoot the moon on stuff when you're not always able to hit that. And that's the same type of thing with Davante with this receiver. He knows what his limitations are. Now in practice, he probably tries to do things that he doesn't always get to do, in games or whatever. But in the game, he knows, okay, for me to beat this corner, I've got to break him down, line him up, and then beat him. And that's one of the things I learned from watching this video is Davante is a very smart player. He uses his athletic ability, yes, but he also uses his head probably more. And that's what makes him a better receiver, in my opinion, than guys like Julio Jones, who I think just kind of runs around and he's got all the athletic ability in the world. And that's why Davante gets, 14 touchdowns in a year sometimes, and Julio Jones only gets 5 every single year because Davante lines up his guy and beats him. Just like when that one game against the Bears, when he had Prince Amukamara right in front of him when he caught that a ball from like the 7-yard line, and it was like him right in front of him, and he had 7 yards to go. He just juked him out, lined him up, juked him out of shorts, boom.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Remember that play? It was awesome.
Yeah, I didn't. The Bears. You didn't think he was going to actually get there, but somehow he got him off balance enough that he was able to. Yeah,
there was no reason because it wasn't even Prince Amukamara. There was like him, and then there was like a safety like at the line at the end zone line, like just waiting. And somehow Davante was quick enough to get around Amukamara, and then because of that, he got the inside hip on him. And he kind of used the Amukamara to like shield off that safety, and then Davante got in the end zone. And it's one of those things where like that guy is smart. Like he knows what he can do. He studies hard. And that's one of the really, really awesome things. And everybody should watch this video. It's really awesome. It's on YouTube, and I don't know what you will call it, but you can just put Davante Adams, NFL, whatever. I don't know what it's called, but you can find it. It's pretty awesome. But everybody should watch it to be like, to really, really respect his game and see what he's doing out there. I mean, I in the past I said that he wasn't as good as Greg Jennings. I think Greg Jennings was a better athlete. He could get off the line of scrimmage faster. He had a quicker release. And he was a faster player. Greg Jennings was fast. He had a lot of big plays downfield all the time, and balls in the air, catching it downfield. But I think the difference is I think Davante Adams has a better work ethic than Greg Jennings, which is saying something. Because I think Greg Jennings still had a really good work ethic. But I think Davante, I think Davante really wants to like be the best. You know what I mean? He like really studies to be the best. Okay, back to you.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say that with a couple things I noticed between them is like Jennings was probably a better strider. Like he had better running style. And so he could utilize his speed better and had a little more speed. Just his strides were better. But I think Adams is a smarter player. I think he's probably more of a detailed player. And that matters. I mean, and so you can tell like by learning all that stuff, watching as much mentally as he knows and puts into it, that's probably one of the biggest reasons why Rodgers has always been a fan of his and trusts him as much as he does.